I think that feels like a nice package there.
Yeah.
Wow, look at those phones light up. It's Felger and Mazz on 98.5, the Sports Hub.
4-point lead. Here comes Fox. 5 seconds remaining. Fox to Wemby. Wemby tries a three, puts it up, off the mark. Anunoby to rebound. It's over. It's over. Knicks fans, this is not a dream. Your long, long wait has ended. Go ahead and cry. After 53 years, the Knicks are finally NBA champions once again.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the program, and that's where we will begin here on a re-entry Monday on Felger and Mazz. Felger and Mazz brought to you by the DraftKings Sportsbook here on 98.5, the Sports Hub FM dial in Boston. We simulcast across the country, and specifically New England on NBC Sports Boston. That's brought to you by Supercuts Real Smart Hair. And again, it being Monday, re-entry Monday, everything from the weekend is on the board. That is brought to you by our friends at Blue Bear. When it comes to plumbing, heating, and air, no one compares to Blue Bear. When you call Blue Bear, you can expect expert service from their friendly staff for all your heating and plumbing services. For more information or to book your appointment today, visit BlueBearPlumbing.com. Mazz and Murray alongside from our Town Fair Tire Studios. Hi, guys.
Good, you.
Hello.
Let's start with some basketball, shall we? Any jumping off points from the New York Knicks winning the NBA championship on Saturday night, Mazz?
Well, the right team won. I mean, every clutch situation in that series, the Knicks performed better than the Spurs did. And if you want to say that that was largely the result of San Antonio imploding, I wouldn't necessarily disagree with you. But remember, you're talking about someone who, or you're talking to someone rather, who thought the Knicks were going to win the series. I picked New York going in. I didn't think it would be in 5 games. But I thought New York was playing exceptionally well together, that they have great chemistry and cohesion at the end of the game. They're more mentally tough, all of that stuff. And I think again, we all know the numbers at this point. San Antonio, Mike, to me, the most telling stat of the whole series, San Antonio had a 10-plus point lead in every game of the series, and they lost in 5.
The number I heard, I think they led for 72% of the game time.
Correct.
Yeah,
I saw that
correct.
too. Yes. Right? And the leads weren't small. I mean, they had double-digit leads in every single game of the series, and they lost 80% of those games.
Can I give you one more along those lines?
Absolutely. Go ahead.
Yeah, this is from an emailer. Since play-by-play data became available in 1996, the 2026 NBA Finals is the only playoff series, not just finals, playoff series, in which the eventual series winner trailed during the final 4 minutes of the fourth quarter in every game they won.
Unbelievable.
They trailed in the final 4 minutes every game they won.
Exactly.
So, continue.
Yeah, so just to that point, I mean, what it tells you is that San Antonio was in control of all of those games. Every single one of them, until it came to nut-cutting time. And the Knicks executed better and San Antonio didn't. And it really is that simple. So if you're telling me, San Antonio had the best player on the floor, true. I mean, we can debate Jaylen Brunson versus Wemby in a big game, but in terms of the impact on the league this year was Wembanyama. And so, absolutely, 100%. The Knicks played together better as a group and kept their composure better as a group. So you want to call that execution, mental toughness, balls, whatever, all of that stuff. The Knicks had it all. San Antonio had none of it.
However you feel about the Knicks and their fans, and I know a lot of people around here, including my dopey friends that were bitching throughout this whole series. I know you hate them because New York, and I don't want to see New York winning. Them winning the title, I think, is one of the better NBA stories in a long time, probably since the 04 Pistons, because I don't think they were a more talented team with Wembanyama on the floor. And Jaylen Brunson's one of the more impressive basketball players I've watched in some time. I mean, you don't expect a 6-foot guard to really be taking over games the way he does, especially that late when they are down with 4 minutes to go in every game in this series. They played physical. They're tough. They're a never-say-die team. I thought people around here would like that, but they hate him because New York. Like, I enjoyed it. And as likable as Brunson and this Knicks team is, Victor Wembanyama, to me, the exact opposite. I am out on this guy until further notice, and I don't want to hear, he's only 22. I don't think that's a valid excuse. I think the way he handled himself, both on and off the floor throughout this series, was terrible. Bad sportsmanship, dirty plays, bitchy comments to interviewers, arrogant, soft. He's a baby and an a-hole. And I don't think you saw this problem early on with other guys that were these transformative players that took over the league. Even LeBron, when he got swept out in his first finals, I don't remember him acting like a bitch like this. Like, I thought this kid handled himself horribly in this series. So good for the Knicks, and I'm out on Wembanyama until further notice.
Okay, so go ahead, Mazz.
No, I was just saying Murray's right about the bitch factor. He came off as kind of a bitch in the last part of that series. He did, and his reputation took a hit. I mean, and he caught a break in this last game because he should have gotten a flagrant on that three that Brunson landed.
Oh, absolutely, on the shooting space.
Absolutely,
absolutely.
He should have. I mean, that should have been automatic.
Landing space, right?
They cut him a break on that one, so he caught a break. But, look, just to follow up on Murray's point real quick, the whole, if you can't look past the uniform.
No, it's New York.
Okay, if you can't look past the uniform, and there are people I know.
I hate New York.
Friends of mine who I would consider like educated adults who said that they couldn't root for the Knicks because they're from New York. I think that I just think that's ridiculous. And particularly when you don't really have a vested interest. What was to dislike about that team?
New York. No, it's Mazz. I got the same thing. It was to the point where I want to send them championship hats. Like, you bitches. Like, again, like, you're sports fans and buddies of mine. I respect you. You're educated sports fans. You should like this team. But New York. I hate New York. I can't New York. F you if you're rooting for New York. Fine. I'll buy you championship shirts, and you have to wear them.
They are everything you would want your team to be.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Which is, they keep beating teams where they have a disadvantage in terms of the top-end talent. The other teams are high-flying, big stats, big numbers, big stars. And every game sort of feels like it goes the same way, Mazz, as you point out. It's like, the opponent has a big lead, and the Knicks just peck and peck and peck. They won't go away. They won't give up. They hang in. And then eventually the pressure is just too much for the big, soft, more talented team. They shoot themselves out of it. The Knicks are there at the end, and it's you would love it if that was your team. And it's such a great story, and I think it's such a great story for the league.
Definitely.
That actually wins, because the NBA is the one sport where that matters the least. The intangible and the toughness and the smarts and just that quotient. You can win hockey and football games with that, with more talented teams. In the NBA, it almost never, ever happens. And so for it to happen here with the Knicks, I think is a great result for the league and a great thing. I don't know if you're like I don't know how you couldn't root for a team like the Knicks that's constructed that way, beating the more talented teams routinely.
Exactly. Independent of what the name is on the front of the jersey. They represent a lot of good things. They stand for a lot of good things. And I know you've made this point in the past about the parity in the league. But if there is true parity in the NBA now, and whatever rules they put in place have contributed to it, meaning that, the super team has not existed now in the league for a little while. So if every team's going to have a couple of superstars and then it's left to intangibles or things in the margins, as you would describe it, you're talking about roster building and character during the game, competitive character, making the right play, making the right read, the coaching, all the other little things. If all those things are now important again in the NBA, based on the fact we've had so many different champions in the league and a team like the Knicks just won, that is so much better for the league. It's not even funny. Like, that is fun to watch.
Agreed.
That's fun to watch.
You have a thought, Murray?
Yeah, and I'll admit, I didn't take this team seriously. I looked at them as almost kind of like the New York version of the Bridgie Celtics, again, on Brunson. I didn't think that they had this kind of ceiling to actually go in there and win this thing. I picked the Spurs. I thought it might be a little more competitive, maybe 6-7 games, but no, and even mid-season, it felt like that thing was going to fall apart because there was, stories of a rift between the team and Karl Anthony Towns. Like, I didn't take them seriously enough. I enjoyed watching it. I'm good for them. I thought they're a good team. They were a fun team to watch.
Unfortunately, now as we turn the page, I still don't think it's going to be some sort of model, although I'm rooting for it. I would root for the Knicks to repeat and be a standard bearer for the league. I have a hard time believing the league is going to change that much, where you can repeatedly not have the best player, maybe not have the best two players. I mean, this last series, they didn't have the best player. When they beat the Celtics, the Knicks didn't have the best two players. But, best player usually wins in that league. You're telling me that's now on its ear? Where you can actually beat a team that were the best two players in the Celtics? So I'm rooting for it, but I wouldn't put my money on it, unfortunately. Nor would the people who know more than me. And I found this interesting. NBA odds for next year are already out. The Knicks are fourth in the total NBA odds to win the championship next year, following behind, in order, I believe, the Spurs, who they just beat in 5 games, Oklahoma City, and the Boston Celtics.
Wow.
The Boston Celtics have the third highest odds to win the championship next year. The Knicks are fourth. What does that tell you? It's almost like, interesting. Maybe out at NBC Sports Boston, you could just, clip this. It's almost like the people that know are saying the Celtics are more talented. It's almost as if the people who are actually financially invested in it and really have to get it right are saying the Knicks still aren't more talented than the Celtics. Interesting. Interesting comment by the odds makers and the handicappers and the people who, frankly, have more invested in that analysis than anyone. Interesting.
I thought you were going to say Detroit or Denver.
Nope, the Celtics. And you tell me why. Tell me why the Celtics are still the top team in the East.
Because their top 2 players are as good or better than any others in the league.
They have the most talent, as is defined by traditionally what is the most talent in the NBA. The top of your roster. Which is still a hard thing for, certainly out at NBC Sports, to swallow. Because for 4 months, this is what they do out at NBC Sports Boston. For 4 months, they tell you, this guy's great, that guy's great, these guys are awesome, look at how awesome these guys are. These guys are great. 4 months shoving this up your ass about how awesome this roster is and how awesome these players are.
And then
they lose in the playoffs, and I get to hear from NBC Sports Boston, well, they didn't have the talent. What do you want? They didn't have the talent. Wait, will you just tell me for the last 4 months how incredible all these guys are up and down the roster? So the people that matter are telling you the fact, which is what we all believed going into the thing. The Celtics have the most talent in the East because talent in that league is defined by the top of your roster. How are the Spurs, after that series, the odds-on NBA championship favorite next year?
Because of their talent.
They have the best player. And who's second? Gilgeous-Alexander. Why?
2-time MVP.
They have the next best player. You're third. Why?
Talent.
Because you got 2 of the top 10 or whatever. Like, it's not, that's the league. Unfortunately, that's the league. So that's like another sort of little slap in the face. It's almost like they're saying the Knicks are more talented. Less talented, excuse me. Strike that. It's almost like they're saying the Celtics are more talented. Interesting. I found that interesting. Funny how that works. So the Celtics, which leads to the next thing. Do you think they meaning the odds makers, are saying Brown, Tatum, and whatever they're surrounded by is the favorite to come out of the East, or are they baking in Giannis to the Celtics? And that's what they're handicapping.
So I lean towards the second thing.
Do you really?
I do. I think that they are looking at it and saying...
Well, that's a mistake, because the Celtics are better with Giannis Tatum. With Tatum Brown.
Yeah,
sorry.
so they might be. But I also think that they think the Knicks are worse than they actually played in this postseason. Like, I think it works both ways, but I do think they're baking in Giannis. I think Vegas thinks he's coming to Boston.
Yeah, and that's why Celtics are ahead of the Knicks?
In part. I mean, I don't know that they can actually, I don't know if they can actually set the odds until it happens.
The Celtics have been favored in all these series for a reason. You have more time, which is you were more than happy to admit and espouse before they lost. It's just a defense mechanism. It's to make yourself feel better after they gag on it again and are the softer team and the lesser coach team, and you're losing on these margins. It's easier for you emotionally to process it by saying, "Wow, we didn't have the roster. We weren't good enough." When the fact is, everyone knows you're better than these teams, as defined by what better is in the NBA, having the best player, having the two best players, etc. That's what you have, and that's what you still have. And I think you're a lesser than if you go from Jaylen Brown to Giannis. I don't think that's going to work. But Tatum, Giannis, is still the best duo in the East, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah. In the East, yeah.
Tatum Brown's the best duo in the East. Tatum Giannis is, I think, is lesser, but is still. I'm still taking that over Brunson Towns.
Yeah, I would too. Yeah.
I mean, and I love who cannot just be overflowing with respect for Jalen Brunson. I mean, I love a player like that.
I underestimated him.
Okay, but is there one NBA general manager who's taken Jalen Brunson over Jason Tatum?
No.
30 out of 30 are taking Tatum. Okay, Brunson, Jaylen Brown. You might get a half dozen to take Jalen Brunson, but I'm sorry. Most are taking Jaylen Brown just because of the size and the two-way ability. And Brunson is still a sieve defensively.
He is. He's exploitable on that end of the floor.
So I just find that interesting. So the Giannis to Boston thing, though, continues to gain steam. Where is that at? What's your temperature on that? We're off and running. Calls and the latest on that right after these words.
Oh, yeah!
Thoughts, calls, emails.
Oh, yeah!
I get my jollies out of it. I do. I'm not a good person. Go ahead.
Felger and Mazz.
Oh, yeah!
98.5, the Sports Hub.
If I know Brad Stevens the way I do, I think that they will go all chips in the center of the table trying to get Giannis Antetokounmpo to Boston. I really think that they are going to devote this entire offseason and overpay if need be to get Giannis to Boston. I love Jaylen Brown, not just as a basketball player, but as a human being and just what he's done for the African-American community in Boston. And so that, I think, is what I think about bigger picture. Jaylen Brown, what he has brought to the city as an athlete beyond basketball, I think has had tremendous value. It's a big man's game, man. I mean, so no, I think you got to get Giannis to Boston almost no matter what. And I believe that I do speak for Brad Stevens, who would never say this on the record. He absolutely would part with Jaylen Brown if he could bring a 7-footer like Giannis to Boston. You got to do it.
Meanwhile, I'm still confused. I don't know what the Celtics. I still can't believe the Celtics would, one for one, trade out Jaylen Brown and bring in Giannis, whether it's a direct trade or part of a three-team, that would be the swap. That's John Anik of The Athletic. He's convinced that Brad Stevens would do it. There's others who say no shot. Tim Bontemps, you're going to hear right here. Jimmy Stewart, if you could cue it up. He was on the podcast, the Hoop Collective podcast with Brian Windhorst. Here's Bontemps.
I don't think the Celtics are trading for Giannis. I don't think that's the kind of move they're going to make. I don't think Jaylen Brown's going out in a deal like that. But again, this all goes back to the same conversation where Miami is sitting there. Miami's definitely interested. Miami has an okay offer. But Miami doesn't have the Trump offer. They already have Giannis on their team. So the question is, will somebody come in?
And then I cut it off there. But he doesn't think – Bontemps says Celtics aren't doing this. Anik is like, I can tell you right now that Brad Stevens will not hesitate to trade Jaylen. He won't say it, but I will. He'll trade Brown to get in a 7-footer like Giannis. So I still don't know what's going on here. I think it would be a mistake for the Celtics if they did it. To your phones as promised. Tim in Brookline. Go ahead, Tim.
What's going on, guys? I have one question. What is the difference between the head coach of the San Antonio Spurs and Joe Mazzulla, outside of one being a bigger jackass than the other? The way the San Antonio Spurs lost this game is the exact same reason and the same way how the Celtics have lost every single important game. Brad Stevens has got to wake up. The Spurs will get their one championship. Stop shooting the freaking three. It just doesn't work.
When are these teams going to realize the open kick-out three is not a good shot the deeper you go in the playoffs? Simply put, this is what happens when the numbers takes over. You just look at the percentages of what you shoot the open three or the wide open three at, and so that's the best shot. And they're just wrong. They're just flat wrong. The Spurs coach, what's his name?
Mitch Johnson.
Okay, so I don't know if Mitch Johnson is as defensive, paranoid, and stubborn as Joe Mazzulla, then they are the same guy. I don't know if Mitch Johnson is has that personality trait that Joe does. Let's face it, either really insecure or something, because he's just, again, defensive, paranoid, stubborn. I don't know if Mitch Johnson has that quality to him, but the way he manages the games, pretty much the same. I mean, even just the way he uses Harper. Like, that was their second best player.
Yeah, right.
I thought pretty clearly he was their second best player.
You mean keeping De'Aaron Fox on the floor instead of Harper?
So, I felt there's some stubbornness there.
Definitely.
of continuing to go with Fox.
See, yeah, go ahead.
No, you go.
You know what I don't understand about this whole thing with the threes is, let's just say late in the game, you have 2 free throws that your team has to take. Do you think the coaches look at it and say, I'd rather have that guy on the line than this guy over there because of the pressure?
Of course.
Then how come they don't think that way with the threes? Does it make any... You see what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, again, how many free throws did Wembanyama miss in the fourth quarter? And who missed the one the other night?
If we're being fair, both teams in the last minute of this game were clanking them all over the place.
True. And Anunoby ended up making one of them, right?
He did, yeah.
So the second of the 2.
I forget who was making...
Or maybe it was Bridges. I don't remember.
I felt they all did it.
Yeah.
I thought they, on both teams, went to the line and made 1 of 2. And Brunson, to me, feels like a sneaky bad free throw shooter. I feel like he missed a bunch of these. Maybe not in, again, it all sort of blends together. But either way, Mazz.
So that point is, take all the names out of it.
Right.
But all those guys missed. When they typically are shooting somewhere around 80%, some of them higher, some of them a little lower. So why are they missing at the end of the game in that situation? And if you believe it's pressure, then how is that a more difficult shot than a 3?
I don't know if the analysts that have taken over our sports believe it's pressure.
Isn't that right? Isn't that just logic?
It's
like, if a guy can gag a free throw, he can gag a 3.
Oh, and they do. Jim in Marlboro. Go ahead, Jim.
Hi, guys. Your previous discussion, I just 100% agree with. But I was just going to, especially between them, the Mazzulla and the coach of the Spurs, that was unbelievable. They're exactly alike. And if you listen to them after the game, exactly alike. No clue of what's going on. But my conversation with you is, both of you, do you guys think head-to-head, the Celtics, if they were to go to a 2-point game like you guys talk about, would they be a better team than the Knicks? And I think yes.
Yes.
Oh, if they made the transition to a 2-point game.
If they changed the way they play?
I misunderstood that. Yes. Yeah, they'd be better. Yes.
No.
Yes.
They're a better team right now. Again, better as defined by
talent.
Strike better. More talented. They're more talented right now. The reason they're not better is because they play the wrong way. And their biggest players come up small when it matters most. Versus the Knicks players, who are lesser talented, come up big when it matters most. I'd say Brunson and Anunoby. You know, Towns sort of receded there as the series went on. He was huge in the first couple of games. This last one, he felt like he barely played because of the foul trouble. But swap out Anunoby. He was a beast.
He's so clutch
in some of these games. So their lesser talented players play better when it matters most than your guys. Murray, can you please turn off your mic when you're typing? Just little pet peeve. Just, you know. And so that's it, you know. And does it suck to be on that side of it?
Yes.
You know what I mean? To be the more talented team that comes up small versus the lesser talented team that steps up and comes up big when it matters most. That would be the one that I'd feel the worst about if I were a Celtics fan.
Because you don't have the onions.
And then when they handicap it for next year, they still have the Celtics ahead of the Knicks because of the talent thing. But can you live up to it? Can you produce at the level of the talent that you have? How about Thomas in the car? Go ahead, Thomas.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Good.
Just wanted to call in because everything you guys are saying to start the show, I 100% agree with. You know, about the Knicks and how the series unfolded and all that stuff. Now, something that I was constantly thinking about this series was the stark difference in play styles in the Celtics and Knicks. The Celtics, when you get to the third and fourth quarter, they piss their pants and they play like a bunch of a-holes. And then the Knicks, when they get to the third and fourth quarter, they play hard defense, they take good shots, and they play together. And I think that ultimately you've gone home early these last 2 years because of your dopey play style and Joe Mazzulla, who I'm completely out on. And it's just crazy to think that, you know, if Ime Udoka could have just kept his hands to himself in the break room, you'd have 2 championships by now.
I do wonder. I think they'd be better off with Udoka.
I would agree with that.
He's a better coach than Joe Mazzulla. I just do. And I think there'd be a chance there that the coddling that Mazzulla does of, let's face it, Tatum mostly, but sort of the player coddling, I think Udoka would be more apt to challenge Tatum or challenge the guys and maybe get a little more out of him when it matters most. I don't know.
Well, that was that's how it looked after his first year. I mean, he was in their faces What did he say that night? They got punked.
They got punked. It was like the second weekend.
He totally, and the best defense I've ever seen them play in any era was under Udoka at the second half of that season. He was They were amazing defensively.
David Wilbraham, quickly.
Hey, you guys are talking about people not liking the Knicks, but did you bring up the ownership at all for the Knicks?
I don't think Celtics fans get to the owner. I don't.
It's just a New York
read
thing.
any stories you read about James Dolan? He's the biggest D-bag in the world.
Oh, he is. Yeah. Oh, he's deplorable.
He's the worst. He's the absolute worst. And it sucked to see him have to raise that trophy and celebrate. But I enjoyed watching the Knicks, and they were a fun team, and I can be happy for them.
Here's what I don't think Celtics fans really care about at all, but they use it to make themselves feel better. One, the violence outside of Madison Square Garden and the violence of Knicks fans. You really don't care. I know you don't care. You don't care. But it's just a way for you to deflect from the Knicks being something in your heart of hearts you really wished you were, which was a tough, clutch team that is greater than the sum of its parts. And never mind the whatever residual New York hatred you have. So see, look at their fans. You're just doing that to make yourself feel better. It's a deflection mechanism. You ultimately really don't care. And you don't care that their owner is a flaming a-hole. You really don't. It never comes up. I never hear about James Dolan unless the Knicks are winning at a high level like this.
No, they
Do
never.
you?
No, they never bring him up.
Never.
I mean, in fact, almost never do you ever bring up an owner from another team when you're talking about the franchise.
Dolan is a deplorable creep, but you don't care. You're just using it as, look at that owner. Look at those fans.
How can you be happy for him? Yeah, he's the Dan Snyder of the NBA. He's a prick.
He really is.
I enjoyed watching that team. They're fun.
They are. They're fun to watch.
Who was the biggest loser from this thing? Could it be Victor Wembanyama? Murray has something on that coming up right after his headlines.
Now, more of Felger and Mazz on the Sports Hub.
I think there was a lot of pettiness. I think words like arrogance come up. I think being a sore loser comes up. And that's a sign of somebody who's 22 years old, who's extremely competitive, who is trying to adapt to what this game is about in this day and age. And I think there's still so much room for growth. But, guys, to be frank with you, it's watching somebody become the villain. And the interesting thing is, like, look, I'm from New Jersey, okay? And, you know, the Knicks team is one of the most likable teams there is in the NBA. Yeah. The fan base feels different sometimes for a lot of other fans, right, for the way they've handled a couple of different things, right? Wendy overtook the dislike for the Knicks fan base because of some of the things that he did on the court.
Wendy we still like.
Wemby we don't like. You know what I mean? Wemby did. So, it's to me, I think this is a big offseason for him because I do think that now it's turning that corner into being almost a little bit of a villain. And I'm curious how he's going to channel that. And by the way, I don't want my big guy to be nice.
Okay, Jay Williams this morning on ESPN on Victor Wembanyama, which is something Big Jim wanted to follow up on. Go ahead, Jim.
Yeah, I think he's a giant baby, and he went from a guy that, he's been a blast to watch and almost like universally liked by NBA and sports fans. Like, this is going to be the second coming of the next guy that's going to take over the league, to a guy that people kind of look at and say he's kind of a baby and a prick. Like, he handled himself so poorly in this thing, whether it was at the end of Game 5 in the press conference where he gets up and he says to the gathered media, like, see you never, not shaking hands with guys, storming off the field. His body language is terrible. Never mind the fact he was kind of a gagger late in these games, in this series. I'm not alone in now looking at Victor Wembanyama and saying, this guy's a baby. And I wish I came up with a nickname that Skip Bayless did that took over the internet over the last 24 hours or so, Victim Wembanyama. It's kind of perfect because he did have this victim complex that he was carrying over these last couple of games. We're going to come back 3-1. Well, you certainly didn't. Like, he's cocky and not able to back it up, which I think is a bad mix.
He shrunk.
Yeah.
He did. He shrunk in a lot of ways. I mean, both on the floor and off. You look at him and you said the guy's a little smaller than I thought he was. And, you made the point about his game being about height. It is largely, and I think in this series, he sort of kind of collapsed at the end of these games. I think the combination of playing a lot of minutes, having people leaning on him all the time, and I think the dirty stuff, to me, is the stuff that hurts him the most. The elbows or whatever. Like, you add those up, it's like, It's a bad look.
Yeah, the gaggy part, too. So the end of Game 4, when he misses those free throws up 1 with like a minute 40 left.
Oh, yeah.
As you've said before, like given his range, all he needs to do is basically just kind of reach, to put it in. That should be automatic for a guy that's built like that. He's 7'5", 7'6"? And a free throw should be pretty easy for Victor Wembanyama. And he gagged him? I don't know. He just might be a gagger, too.
So... this is all too early. Is he 21?
22.
22?
It is early. I agree.
So I'm definitely not writing off Victor Wembanyama. But then again, I didn't get on the hype train beforehand. When everyone was saying after the West, the West bracket that it's Wemby's league, you would go back. I said, I'm not fully convinced of that. I don't know if he's going to be any different than Nikola Jokic or Giannis, or Gilgeous-Alexander, or Brown Tatum. A brilliant basketball player, Hall of Famer. He's going to win a championship. He'll win MVPs. I felt that way before. I feel that way now. But the thing about taking over the league, it's a different league, thank God. But also, I think it comes down to this, Mazz. Well, one is, and you mentioned it there, I've said, take out the things that are special just because he's tall. In other words, if he wasn't 7'4" with a 7'6" wingspan.
8 feet.
You know what I mean? It's an 8 feet wingspan.
8-foot wingspan.
That's crazy.
If you take out that wingspan, if you take out the plays that he makes where he can just simply reach over you without even trying, what is special? Special. Like generational special, like he's the next guy after Michael Jordan. Because this is what people were saying. I'm not sure. The things that aren't just related to the height, I don't know what they are. But two, maybe this occurred to me too. He doesn't play close enough to the bat. He just plays like another wing. So he's just a bigger wing.
No, he does play like a wing for the most part. That's true.
He's going to spot up and take his threes. Mm-hmm. He's going to play away from the basket, and he's facing the basket. And so he's just another wing.
Mm-hmm. He got exposed a little in this series.
So,
a little.
I don't know what. He's just another wing who's going to be good and win a championship and win an MVP or two. But unless he plays more inside and truly takes advantage of his size, I'm sticking with my original thought. He's just going to be a really good NBA player, but it ain't his league any more than it's Jokic's or Giannis's or Brown and Tatum's. It's not. He's just going to be another guy that's in and then out.
I mean, I want to see how he responds to this whole thing, particularly as it relates to his teammates. I don't know, man. You start acting like a bitch, and then all of a sudden your teammates start there's a thing there about sort of the respect of your teammates that I think is important. Jimmy sent me a bunch of stats, by the way. In the series, he was 2 for 8 in the fourth quarter from the line. 2 for 8. And there were a bunch of guys that were just as bad on both teams, as you were saying earlier. Landry Shamet went 3 for 11. Brunson went 3 for 7. I'm just throwing this out there.
Brunson 3 for 7 in the fourth quarter of this series.
Fox 2 for 7. Towns 1 for 4. Bridges 0 for 5.
So that's a good one. So my eyeballs actually work.
Yeah, a lot of them.
I don't just read a stat sheet. I get getting all this Cincy New York Knicks bitch factor on my email. Trev Dog. Okay, Trev Dog.
Don't mess with Trev Dog.
Here comes Trev Dog. Oof. Brunson shot 84.6% from the free throw line in the playoffs this year. Did you just say he's a bad free throw shooter? You were mad he went 13 and 15 from the line? Come on now. Take Trev Dog. I said he missed a lot of free throws late, or it felt that way to me watching the games, not just reading the stat sheet. What was he from the line in the fourth quarter of this series?
You said Brunson 3 for 7.
So that would be under 50%.
429 to be exact.
That's a 43% free throw percentage when it matters versus you said he was just under 85% in the series. So my eyes work. I don't just read the stat sheet. Try again. Trev Dog. Go ahead.
But no, I got another one. Just say the real
Mazz
reason.
Dog.
The real reason we brought that up is because of this whole idea that the open three is the best shot.
All shots are hard when you get later in these games. It's the human element. It's pressure.
The free throw is a 15-foot shot with nobody on you.
But these dopey ass coaches, Joe Mazzulla says I like the look. And I liked the process. When he says I liked the process, you know what that means. He's saying the expected, or this Atkinson, the coach from Cleveland, well, in expected points, we're leading the series 3-1. So it's all the expected bull crap. That shot's supposed to go in statistically, so that's a good look. I liked our process. Does this Mitch Johnson spew the same sort of gobbledygook?
Probably.
Does he talk about the duality?
Probably.
Well, now we're talking about the duality of it, this Mazzulla guy. So not only do you get he's just a numbers guy, which means he's limited by definition. We get the new age poppycock on top of it. I don't know if Mitch Johnson has the same drivel, that same, not drivel, this same new age poppycock drivel that Joe Mazzulla gives us about the duality and all that bullcrap. I don't know if Mitch Johnson is that bad, but either way, it's not the duality. Pressure and the human element, and just because the shot is open from 24 feet does not mean it's a good shot, you idiots.
It's amazing. Does it get any easier than a free throw in the NBA? They're giving you points, 15 feet, and they can't make those. You think they're going to make threes?
They were all clanging them at the end of that game.
Oh, they were. It was a brick fest.
But either way, is Victor Wembanyama the biggest loser in that series?
Yes.
Oh, I think so.
Yeah, definitely.
It's the way it goes.
Definitely.
And he's going to have to wear it till he wins. Might be next year. He's going to win one.
I wonder how much he and they, but especially him, took it seriously. Because if you see how he and they acted after they beat OKC in Game 7, in a game I didn't expect them to win. Like, he acted like they won the championship and that the Western Conference Final was the real championship, and the Knicks, that was going to be nothing. They certainly acted that way on the floor.
Anyway, back to your phones in our long commercial-free segment next.
Boston's best sports talk. You can count on it.
2 plus 2 is a 5.
Me sento un po' pacchiato perché Roma
Felger and Mazz.
ESPN is like working overtime right now in order to stir up controversy or to push an agenda. And it's so obvious. People sending me clips like ESPN is posted like you put your condo up for sale. ESPN is like, why are you working so hard to push a narrative about me? It's clear as day, but people, because I know what happens behind the media process, like ESPN, the reporters and analysts don't get to choose what the topics is. Somebody from above chooses what those topics are and places them in front of like the media analysts. So like even like people like Stephen A. Smith is not coming up with his own topic. Somebody else is, and he's just giving his take on it. So ESPN is like constantly putting me on the forefront of these narratives. Most of them are negative, and I wonder why. I know why, but I don't need to say it. ESPN, why are y'all watching my stream?
Oh, my God.
What's his problem now?
A grand anti-Jaylen Brown conspiracy theory is what this is.
That's a fake narrative.
Well, the world's out to get him. That, you understand, Mazz. It's not just, Stephen A. There's people above Stephen A. who put the topics in front of him, so it's not even really Stephen A. or the commentators. It's the higher-ups at ESPN. And as he said in that, why are they trying to make it about me and spin these negative narratives? I mean, I know why, but I'm not going to say it here. So what do you think it is?
I haven't the slightest clue, and I would say, dude, how about just telling us? Why does everyone have to guess? Why are we playing this stupid game? If you're going to go out there and and make these allegations, but you want to leave it vague and cryptic, how about just telling us what it is and putting it all out there?
But
I have no idea what it is. I honestly don't have a clue.
No, I mean, he thinks he's targeted maybe because of his politics or maybe his religion or his beliefs. It's maybe just file under his beliefs or is why people are out to get him. And that's why he's, sort of shunned by the regular basketball community, I guess, and that they're in cahoots with ESPN. So he's got this, this paranoia. Wait, he's an NBA superstar, right?
Yes.
Don't we talk about all NBA superstars being traded and being part of trade rumors and off-season movement? How come I don't hear this from Giannis, who's in more of it than anybody? Why does Jaylen Brown think he's being targeted when he's simply an NBA superstar and NBA superstars move? So we're discussing the possibility of him being moved. That's all that is.
I mean, he's really alleging there that everyone's conspiring against him.
Correctamundo.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's really what that is.
From the highest levels. Yes. Yes, sir.
I mean, that is like...
Yes. Cuckoo.
Yeah, that's a little nutso.
Yep. Yes, sir.
I mean, on some level, it's like you're important in what you do. You're not that important.
If I had to guess, it was, Nike has a big control and a big say in what goes on in the NBA, and I've been iced out by Nike, and now this is them further icing me out and making me look bad.
The NBA world, the American basketball establishment, as defined by Nike and all of that, and so he doesn't
NBA Illuminati.
He doesn't play ball with them, so they're out to get him. To the point where the producers and the higher-ups at ESPN, you see, the hosts don't actually determine what's being said. They're just handed the topic, and then they have to go with it. So it's a grand conspiracy against Jaylen. I mean, my goodness.
On the highest levels.
I mean, this guy, dude, you're an NBA superstar, and pretty much every NBA superstar either gets moved or we talk about them getting moved. It's really nothing more than that. I mean, in this case, if you want to talk about being selected for USA Basketball or the Nike influencing, maybe there's a case there. Side topic. This is the NBA offseason. The draft is next week. The league year begins in 2 weeks. And we're talking about pretty much just about every NBA superstar at this time of year on some level or another maybe being moved. And the ones we don't talk about then end up getting moved like Luka Doncic out of nowhere. So you're hardly alone. This is hardly a Jaylen Brown thing, Jaylen. You're just an NBA superstar, and it's the offseason. God. But no, there's some sort of grand conspiracy against Jaylen Brown.
It's not just Stephen A. Smith. It's Jimmy Pitaro, who runs ESPN, but it goes above him.
Oh, my God.
It's also the mouse, Mickey Mouse, because it's Disney, you see. And who started Disney? Walt Disney. Who was he sympathizing with back in the 30s? Do the math, man. Is he writing all this stuff out on a whiteboard and putting this all together?
So maybe this answers your question.
The NBA offseason.
As to what are the Celtics doing?
So the NBA offseason, for most people, especially casual fans, is more interesting to people than the actual games. Everyone gets talked about, especially when you're a big-name player like Jaylen Brown is. You finished, 5th in the MVP voting? You're now a superstar in the league. You get talked about the league, especially if you might get moved. But it goes above them, man. It's one big grand conspiracy.
This guy.
Wow.
So
I know, but I won't say. Anytime anyone says that, it's like, you're just... Get off the internet.
I mean, seriously, this one is what? They know. They won't say, so I'm not saying. I'm going to start doing that myself around here. People start thinking I'm a little crazy. It might help.
All right. The Jaylen Brown thing feels like it is coming to a head. One way or the other. Maybe we know this week. Maybe we know in the next couple of days. Maybe we learn something at any given minute. As soon as it happens, you'll hear it here first. It is a Reentry Monday. Right back to your phones on everything right after Murray gets you updated. 90 seconds, no commercials here.